Good evening. Tonight we are dismantling the golden facade of Hollywood's most protected leading man to reveal the heavily guarded secrets buried deep within sealed federal documents. For over 4 decades, Brad Pitt has enjoyed a public persona that is practically bulletproof, revered globally as a cinematic titan. However, a profound discrepancy exists between the glossy magazine covers and the stark reality documented in recent court filings. The narrative initially sold to the public regarding his 2016 separation from Angelina Jolie was framed as a standard Hollywood uncoupling 2 megastars, simply buckling under the immense weight of relentless fame. Yet, investigative reviews of cross-complaints and legal maneuvers reveal that this separation was not a gradual fade, but a sudden, severe rupture. The empire they built, christened Brangelina by the press, was quietly crumbling long before the public ever noticed. Tonight, we investigate the staggering machinery designed to protect an A-list brand and the unprecedented legal steps taken by a family attempting to sever ties permanently from a highly complicated legacy. The turning point of this entire saga traces back to a specific, highly documented incident on September 15, 2016. Aboard a private jet traveling from Nice, France, to Los Angeles. This was the exact location where the fairy tale officially reached a breaking point, sparking an immediate international crisis. According to sworn court documents entered into the public record years later, the conflict ignited before the family even boarded the aircraft. Once airborne, the situation escalated rapidly. Filings alleged that an intoxicated Pitt created a severely hostile environment during the transatlantic flight. The legal paperwork outlines a harrowing ordeal, describing intense verbal aggression directed at Jolie and the children. The situation deteriorated to a point where a severe altercation reportedly occurred when a family member intervened. Jolie allegedly sustained documented injuries to her back and elbow during the chaos. The environment was deemed so volatile by the flight crew that authorities were alerted before the aircraft even reached the tarmac in California, setting off a chain reaction that would permanently alter their family dynamic. Because this mid-air incident occurred in international airspace, the jurisdiction for the investigation fell directly to federal authorities, thrusting the family into legal jeopardy. The Federal Bureau of Investigation immediately launched a probe into the events that transpired on that flight, interviewing witnesses and gathering evidence. While the investigation ultimately concluded without formal charges being filed against the actor, the immediate fallout was absolutely devastating. Recognizing the severity of the situation and prioritizing the safety of her household, Angelina Jolie made a decisive move. Just 5 days after that aircraft touched down in Los Angeles, she filed for divorce, instantly severing one of the most powerful partnerships in entertainment history. Pitt would later publicly admit to struggling with substance issues and raising his voice during this tumultuous period. Yet his legal representatives have vehemently denied the specific allegations of severe aggression detailed in Jolie's court filings. The federal probe may have closed, but the public war was truly just beginning as the global media began to take sides. In the aftermath of the separation, the staggering power of an elite Hollywood crisis management machine shifted into high gear to salvage a multi-billion-dollar brand. For decades, Brad Pitt has utilized one of the most sophisticated and effective public relations apparatuses in the global entertainment industry. His strategy is a masterclass in controlled access and narrative dominance. When negative stories regarding his behavior surface, they are swiftly countered with overwhelming waves of rehabilitative press. The media landscape was suddenly flooded with carefully orchestrated stories detailing his renewed dedication to sobriety, his passion for art, and his journey of personal growth. This highly coordinated strategy effectively drowned out the severe criticism stemming from the divorce filings. reinforcing his curated image as an easygoing leading man going through a difficult life transition. This PR shield allowed his global reputation to emerge from the darkest period of his life largely unblemished, proving that in Hollywood, controlling the narrative is often much more crucial than the actual reality of the events behind closed doors. Conversely, as the crisis machine worked overtime, Angelina Jolie operated in a completely different sphere, refusing to engage in the toxic cycle of celebrity tabloid spin. Jolie famously does not employ a traditional PR team to manage her daily image, relying instead on her international humanitarian work to speak for her character. When the marriage collapsed, this lack of a dedicated defense mechanism proved incredibly costly in the ruthless court of public opinion. While opposing camps allegedly leaked strategic narratives to media outlets, painting Pitt as a heartbroken father and Jolie as a calculating strategist, Jolie maintained a rigid, unyielding silence. She adamantly refused to use the press to launch attacks, choosing instead to absorb the severe public backlash entirely on her own. She retreated behind the gates of her estate, focusing the entirety of her energy on shielding her 6 children from the relentless media circus. To the outside world, her steadfast silence was often misconstrued as guilt or manipulation, while Pitt's orchestrated vulnerability was widely embraced. The most damning evidence contradicting the carefully spun public relations narrative does not come from rival publicists, but directly from the young adults who lived inside that deeply guarded reality. Over the past few years, we have witnessed an unprecedented and highly coordinated severing of ties between Pitt and his eldest children. Maddox, the eldest son who was reportedly at the epicenter of the tragic airplane altercation, testified during the closed-door custody proceedings and has reportedly maintained absolutely zero contact with Pitt for years. Similarly, Pax, the second eldest, famously authored a scathing private social media post that eventually leaked to the press. In this unfiltered message, he allegedly described his father as a terrifying figure who turned the lives of his youngest siblings into a constant nightmare. As these children have reached adulthood, their decisive actions speak volumes louder than any magazine interview. They are not merely drifting apart from a busy parent. They are making a conscious, deliberate choice to distance themselves entirely from his orbit and his influence. The silent rebellion of the older siblings reached a stunning legal crescendo thanks to Shiloh, the first biological child of the former couple. In a move that shocked the industry, as Zahara joined a university sorority and introduced herself without her father's famous last name, Shiloh took the distancing to a permanent official level. On the exact day she turned 18, legally transitioning into an adult with the power to make her own legal decisions, Shiloh hired her own independent attorney. She reportedly paid out of her own pocket to file documents with the courts to permanently and legally remove his name from her hyphenated surname. This was not a teenage phase, it was a profound, coordinated, and legally binding rejection. By actively erasing his legacy from her legal identity on the very first day she was eligible to do so, Shiloh effectively dismantled the persistent tabloid narrative that Jolie had alienated the children. Instead, this powerful legal maneuver heavily suggests a profound, shared experience that these young adults are actively choosing to leave firmly in their past. The visual irony of this unprecedented family estrangement is evident when observing the youngest twins, who share a striking physical resemblance to the man they are choosing to leave behind. Knox Leon has grown into the absolute spitting image of his father in his younger years, capturing the exact features that made Pitt a global superstar. Yet, despite this undeniable physical connection that the media constantly highlights, Knox has remained completely removed from Pitt's highly publicized orbit. His twin sister, Vivienne, has also begun aggressively distancing herself in professional settings. While working as a producer's assistant on a major Broadway play alongside her mother, Vivienne made a deliberate choice regarding her professional identity. When the official playbills were printed for opening night, she chose to be credited simply and clearly as Vivienne Jolie. This move by the youngest members of the family solidifies the reality that this is a unanimous consensus. The children are stepping into the spotlight on their own terms, and they are doing it entirely without the Pitt name attached to their professional endeavors. With the fierce custody battle largely resolved simply due to the children aging out of the family court's legal jurisdiction, the conflict rapidly morphed into a bitter, scorched-earth financial war. The new battleground is Chateau Miraval, the sprawling estate and world-renowned vineyard in the south of France, where the couple originally exchanged vows. Once a powerful symbol of their unity, the estate transformed into a financial prison when the marriage ended. Seeking to cut all remaining ties to a man and a location heavily associated with deep distress, Jolie made the decision to sell her stake in the property. The public narrative, heavily pushed by opposing legal teams, aggressively claimed that Jolie maliciously sold her half to a controversial billionaire specifically to sabotage the wine business out of spite. Pitt subsequently filed a massive lawsuit, claiming she violated an unwritten consent agreement regarding the sale. However, the legal documents quietly filed by Jolie's defense team reveal a drastically different and much darker reality surrounding the timeline of this highly publicized, multi-million-dollar corporate transaction. The most shocking revelation hidden within the Miraval lawsuit is the actual reason a massive $54 million buyout deal collapsed at the final crucial hour. According to the court filings, Jolie did not initially seek an outside buyer. She actually offered to sell her share directly to Pitt, and a full financial agreement was successfully reached in early 2021. The deal was completely finalized and ready for signatures. However, the transaction fell apart completely, not over financial disagreements, but over a demand for total, permanent control. Pitt's legal team allegedly demanded the inclusion of a sweeping non-disclosure agreement at the last minute. This NDA was not a standard business contract limited to the winery. It was an expansive gag order designed to legally prohibit Jolie from ever speaking publicly about the events that led to the end of her marriage. Recognizing this as a blatant attempt to buy her permanent silence and weaponize her financial exit to protect his personal reputation, Jolie walked away. She sacrificed the massive payout to ensure she could never be legally silenced, standing her ground as her children finally stepped free.